Good morning. Welcome back to another episode of Reaper Pro Tips with me, your host, Anne, and disembodied brain, Justin. And Reaper John. Poof! Into the room. In the arena. And Derek's with us as well. Awesome. Awesome. Hey, Quinty. Here we are. It's Friday. Finally, it's Friday. Oh, Justin is stuck in traffic, so he's even further disembodied. Oh, yeah. I wondered, because I was like doing my little things that I do right before the stream to make sure I'm like cool with it. And yeah, it's like we were a little late. For once, it wasn't me, guys. For once. I just like to wait a minute to make sure you guys are getting in the room before I start the show. So hello everyone. Hello. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. I'm looking forward to the weekend. And I'm cooking Indian tonight. Something really evil and fattening and sinful. Chicken korma. Which is that Indian dish with the kind of the nut-based sauce. Which is just, yeah, love it. Can't wait. I really enjoy this Indian cooking kick I'm on. I have to fight so that I'm not feeding David curry 4 times a week. Like, seriously. Seriously. Yeah, Reaper Standard Time. Right. Yeah, we try not to do that here. Yeah, I really love making I love curry anyway, so having learned to make many different varieties of it now, I'm shocked at how good fish curry and shrimp curries are. Like, I would never have guessed that the flavor of seafood would go with curry, but it really does. Really is good. And I love to eat more seafood, so. Yeah. And Astro, there's an Indian bakery just down the block too that I have yet to step into because I'm a little frightened of what I might do. Especially because I've been losing weight these last couple days, so I'm just like, yeah, broke the plateau. Let's not celebrate by getting a sticky Indian rose petal sweet. Let's not do that. Although I did order the weirdest drink I think I've ever had. All I can say is it like tastes like India. It's Thandai. Thandai. And it's an Indian festival drink. And they sell a powdered form, which of course is probably not nearly as good as actually making your own. But it's got a nut base, so it's like almonds and pistachios and poppy seeds. And then on top of that, it's got rose petals, cardamom, white and black pepper, aniseed. And it's so weird to have a cold, sweet drink be spicy. Like the pepper, right? And it tastes like India. Like, it tastes like nothing you would have here in America. It's really good. So I've got my little packet of it, and I'm like, this is my special drink for when I feel like something really odd. Oh, Reaper John was casting, huh? It's really interesting. Like, David was like, couldn't decide if he was into it, but I probably like aniseed a little bit more. But more than anything, I think it's the, like, cardamom and aniseed and rose petal that it tastes like. It's just very interesting. Like, I could see how it could grow on me, and then I would get totally hopelessly addicted to it, so... I kind of want to make a natural, like, make it from scratch, which is, pounding up all the nuts and then, immersion blending everything into a nice frothy. And I made it with coconut milk instead of regular milk, which was, I think, pretty suitable for India. Ton of stuff for distribution. Yep, it's that kind of day, huh? Well, let's see. What are we going to do on Genie today? Should we give her eyeballs? Let's give her eyeballs, guys. I'm feeling like eyeballs today. Hey, we could do some M&M too, but let's actually kick off with eyeballs. What do you guys think? Oh, nice. Good, Shadow Raven. Congrats for the gift card. Yeah, let's do eyeballs. What am I gonna do with those eyeballs? I don't know. Well, first we'll dark them in like I usually do. I think I'll use blue liner for that. Don't congratulate you. It cost you like $40. That is the evil. Got a paint flake on my model. That is the evil of the Reaper gift card, right? You get $20 free, and then it costs you another 40. Congratulations, you've spent more money. If you're fascinated by the casting process, then be sure to take the Reaper tour at some point at headquarters. Maybe this year at ReaperCon, for those of you who are going, because we always have tours of the factory. Sometimes people are even doing things. I'm going to thin this down a bit. Hello, Dragon Eye. Mage Tails, that's funny. Massive pile of paint. That's if I dumped all my paint out on the floor, it would actually, if I dumped it all out on the table, it would take up at least half the table, I want to say, of our table, our dining room table. Alrighty, so I'm going to start with dark. I'm going to go with blue liner. Just going to reaffirm the dark around her eyes that I did long ago. She's got a smile on, so her eyes have this crescent shape because of the bulge of the cheek. You don't want to lose that. You don't want to make her eyes wider. Part of smiling is that your eyes crinkle up. So if you lose that, it'll look really weird. The NMM is still a work in progress. Thank you, Iffy. 400, yeah. I mean, I did make the line, so I felt like I had to heavily invest before I left. But I mean, we're still working obviously on some of the gold here. Still have gold to do, and still have gold to do on the sword as well. But yeah, if you're doing a model with an expression, kind of be aware that the shape of the eyes is probably dictated by that expression. And you don't want to lose the shape. So doing paint plastic surgery to enlarge these eyes would be a mistake. Plus, you shouldn't have to. They're actually plenty big. Yeah, it's because we're shading it with purple. We're creating our shading colors with purple. I really want it to be very ethereal. Although David was arguing with me that dawn colors are orange and not pink and blue, I disagree. I will hold to my pink and blue and gold. All right, I think we're good there. Let's get some white. And I think I actually do want white for her eyes. I don't know. Maybe a pale blue white. She's unnatural. Or maybe I'll use linen white. No, we'll try linen white. Let's see. Used to use linen white for eyeballs all the time. It's just one finger. Just one finger, Zen. She's doing that. Don't be naughty. Spankings for everyone. Something like that. With Bobby Jackson behind this model, I would not be surprised at channeling Monty Python. Not at all. Gonna do 4 drops of linen white with only 1 drop of water. Hey, Durham, how's it going? And jelly. And Bob and Julie. Poof, 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 everybody. Everybody just not disapparates, but apparates. Boom. Okay, oh wait. I have to share this with you all. Yesterday, and I almost took a picture and social media'd it, but then I was like, no, let's just not be that person. But I took a walk last night after dinner, as is my new routine, and there were people in the park playing Quidditch. I shit you not. I have heard of this phenomenon. I have never seen it in person until last night, when there was a Quidditch game going on in the park. David says, "Welcome to California!" Things that people can get away with crap. Like, there are people fighting with lightsabers, too. Like, there's, like, that's a thing here. I was like, I have never encountered this in real life before, so I was like, OMG, David, I think people are playing Quidditch here. I was like, whoa. So apparently, it is just as likely to see a Quidditch game as it is to see a soccer game in the big park near us. Because I have seen one of each. In their imagination's trouble. Imagination is mighty. Although it does seem like it is pretty difficult to play a ball game when you've got a broomstick clenched between your legs. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lightsaber league. Like, that's a thing here. Like, there are just, like, there's just enough weirdness. This is the vibe that my mother was afraid would infect me, and she always claimed, she blamed my weirdness on being born here, and now I see why. Like, these are things that you would not encounter in rural Wisconsin. All right, so take your linen white and very gently start kind of sketching a line across the eye. You don't want to cover up your dark rim. You can like slightly cover it up. Yeah, as long as you can still see dark around the eye, you're fine. Oh yeah, I'm sure, Durham. Thanks, Crows. We try to be pretty awesome. Reaper strives for awesome. Oh no, I blurfed. So when you blurf, grab some water, just a damp brush. Come in, slurp it off. Don't panic. You got plenty of time. I don't know. My mother's greatest fear was that I was going to grow up, move to California and become a fortune teller. Like, that was it. That was what she thought it was going to happen. I'm like, well, you were right on two things, Mom. Good morning. So I'm just like kind of gently going over this. Just relax. Don't freak out when you're doing eyes. I mean, especially eyes that are this big. Remember to move the model around so that you can keep a comfortable brush position so that you're not tensing up on it and not like holding it in a weird posture. This is how you build brush control. Consistency and a comfortable brush position. So now we've got the whites, and I may manage to cross over. You see a little bit there on the bottom. I'm just gonna go in. Shadow Raven, I already have 12. There's a reason for my mother's fear. I used to have 20. I downsized. But yes, I know how to read tarot cards. It's one of those things. In high school, I decided that I wanted to have a lot of interesting things I could do. Like, I decided I was never going to be the prettiest girl, and I was never going to be, like the sports, person. This is in high school, so you're all concerned about what box you fit in. I'm like, I just want a lot of interesting hobbies. So I painted miniatures, and I took up tarot reading and astrology, a little bit of astrology, not a lot. I liked tarot reading better because the cards were artistic. And I learned to hypnotize people. Then I had a freaky experience with hypnosis and then stopped. Already working on it, Crows. I mean, if you think about it, Crows, that's what Halfling's cape is, right? Like, it's based on the Three of Swords. It's just a spade because she's not a hearts kind of girl. But that's where I came up with that idea, is tarot. You should be trying new things, but nobody wants to because that makes you stick out, Inara. Like, you want to try new things that are socially acceptable. You don't want to, like, learn how to hypnotize people because you think it would be cool. I still think it was pretty cool, but I have no urge to ever do it again. I should say, and it's very actually telling about how weird, the limits of weird. I wanted to do hypnosis until I got some solid evidence that it was super real. And then I was like, oh, this actually works? Okay, I'm done. Whereas tarot cards I feel could stay in that realm of you're unlikely to get solid proof that they work. It's kind of like if you think you want to be able to do magic, but if you actually woke up one day able to do magic, you'd kind of freak out a bit. Chances are. It would change your whole life after all. And a lot of us like our lives the way they are. I think that's the point of all of those coming of age stories where people discover they have magic powers. I think those people don't freak out enough, personally. Yeah, I really like the art on a lot of the tarot cards. And I just like the iconography as well. It's got some really good... It's like... It appeals to me on the same level as fairy tales and folk tales do. Where it's got old like iconography and associations that aren't really in our modern culture, but that still have links to the way back in human. Yeah, but you probably would freak out a bit first, Durham. After all, you have no idea like what the downside of your magic powers are. There's not always just going to be an upside. So I feel like, yeah, it probably accidentally or purposefully explode ourselves. There's a difference between imagining you can do something that can profoundly affect other people and learning that you actually can do it. It gives you a sobering moment. That's all I'm saying. And yeah, I'm sure there are some people who would just shrug that off and go happily dancing forward with it, but not me. Not me. I guess I'm too conscious of repercussions. Not the reaper kind. All right, so we've got some nice eyes. Some nice whites of the eyes. Now I have to make a decision. What color are our eyes, guys? Yeah, I can see that, Shadow Raven. I also hung out in the library a lot in high school, mostly because nobody else wanted to, so I did. It was nice and quiet. Yes, exactly, Durham. Gold is weird because you'd have to go dark. Amber, gold, violet. We could go violet, purple type stuff. That would fit with all the rest of it. Amber, the problem with gold eyes, guys, is it's hard to make them show up. If this was a bust, we could do it. But when they're very small, you're looking at brown at that point and maybe suggesting kind of a golden highlight. But I don't know. I think I'm more toward the purple, the violet. No Zen, because I won't violate my color scheme. Always, I don't feel like, I won't make a decision that will be ugly next to my current color scheme, and fluorescent green would definitely be ugly next to my current color scheme. Yes. I will not uglify my genie. No uglifying. No uglification. Sorry. Take your trolling somewhere else. So we'll go with the Kraken ink and the violet red. Whoops. Block in the iris outside of the iris with our Kraken ink. I keep wanting to say Kraken. Stop it, Anne. It's not Greek. Kraken ink. I really don't like neon colors. I feel like at that point it's just garish and I don't enjoy it. I'm a very naturalistic painter though. I mean, this is as bright as I get. This and Dancing Girl are as bright as I get. I really like normally to have a lot of earth tones and neutrals. I lean heavily on them. You could do a neon figure if you want. Chances are my aesthetic is still going to, like, go, yeah. I don't like those colors. Like, everybody got their own shtick going on with the colors they prefer to use. And, I can enjoy a very bright or neon-y color scheme from someone else, but it's not the way I roll. Luca does some really bright stuff. But then he seems to do more sci-fi too, and I think that lends itself to it. Yeah, exactly. Outer Mama's got it. On sci-fi minis, they can be a nice touch. And I've used bright colors as an accent before, but it's not really, yeah. Overall, when I look at a model, I'm thinking about muted colors, usually. Unless, I mean, I'm going to do if there is a model coming up in my repertoire that I am going to do bright colors on, but how bright remains to be seen. I mean, you guys can suggest stuff all you want, but, you know, there is a point where Anne says, no. I had a werewolf game once where the party went into the Umbra to try to convince, they couldn't open a lock in the real world, so they got an idea that maybe they could talk to the spirit of the lock in the spirit world and convince it to open. And that was what the little lock spirit said. No. I like playing with cute in my role-playing games, as you can tell. All right, so come at the eyelid from underneath, first of all. Let's see. I got to get a little bit more in focus. There. You always want to come at it from underneath because that lets you use this eyelid to stop your brush and kind of control, not have your brush skid because it's kind of trapped up there, and you can work a little bit wider. Again, you want to keep your hand relaxed. You always want to keep it relaxed because that's what's going to let you get the control to do this stuff. And as I have often said in the past, if you are scared of eyeballs, pick up the faceless horror model that Julie sculpted. It has like 160 eyes on it or something, all different sizes. You will not be scared of eyes after you do 40 of those. Like, everybody doesn't do that, but honestly, if you do, it improves your eyes so much more. So you kind of put it down. You kind of start with just a little dot. And you want to figure out at that point, you know, well, where is she looking? Is she looking over here, you know, over that way? Is she looking straight at the viewer? Is she looking to the side over there? And you got to kind of widen from that. But you can start with just making 2 little dots. I think I want her... Do I want her looking at the viewer? That's a good question. I think I want her looking a little bit to the side. And I might correct that. But this is the point where you can correct the positioning of the eyes. So choose your tiny dots appropriately. And then you can expand upon them. Yeah, I kind of like that whole sideways look. Oh, nice. A bust of Captain Fairweather. I wonder if they're just blowing up the 3D render, because that would be good. I mean, repose maybe. I see a lot of people doing that, is producing smaller busts by just making the 3D render a bit bigger and smoothing out anything that shows up, any artifacts at that larger scale. But maybe it'll be a new sculpt. Who knows? All right, so... And our eyes are a little wonky now. So now we have to kind of figure out how to fix them. Because since I decided on this sideways look, I also lowered that one too much. But I have to. Okay, so sometimes when your eyes are relaxed, guys, your iris intersects with your lower lid on most eyes, not everybody. When you widen them is when it doesn't. When she's looking slightly up, you're going to see a little bit of white underneath the iris. But I'm going to have her more down to earth, so I'm going to make it intersect, especially because she's smiling. So the iris will definitely intersect with the lower lid. So, like, look at anatomy. Seriously. I had somebody recently kind of asked me for a critique, and a lot of the highlighting problems were a lack of just understanding or thinking about anatomy. Just looking at how eyes actually look in real life, right? Look at your own eyes and kind of the eyes of people around you. So now I'm not widening them out fully yet, but I'm darkening them to making them more solid. ReaperCon tickets live now. Everybody does eyes a little bit different, but it tends to be pretty. I mean, everybody these days tends to start from kind of the same point or perspective. So then, as you widen out these irises, you got to kind of decide, like, how big are the irises going to be in the eye. If I kept everything this small, we would have no room to do a colored iris at all. There's just no way. So if you really want to do a colored iris on a model that's like, this is about I want to say it's about a 75 millimeter. It's kind of equivalent. If we have a 55 millimeter little halfling girl, and she comes up like not to the shoulder, yeah, I'm gonna say Genie's like around a 75, maybe 80. So with eyes that are this big, you think you can do everything, but not if your pupils are small. You really cannot. It'll distort them and make them look weird. I'm going to assume I teach at least one class at ReaperCon and get a free badge, so I'm not going to go and buy my ReaperCon badge. Let's see here. All right, so now I'm going to widen out these a little bit more. You don't want to lose, and you may need to come in at it from the side at this point. But because I want some control here, I want to widen out the iris, but I don't want to lose that inner corner of white. Otherwise, I'll have to do it. Oh, new Angelica bust? Brand new, huh? Cool. Cool. Excitement, John. I like to see, I like this idea of new busts. Because at least one of the new classes I'm working up really needs a bust. One of my skin tone classes. So now we'll make those a little bit bigger. Those eyeball shapes. And you can always scale this back. Like if you feel that you've gone too far. I'm going to keep going and widening these irises and pupils until they really are really wide. You guys can see how the expression really changes. With the smaller pupil and iris combo, she looked a little bit more wicked. But the bigger you make the iris and pupil, the softer the eye gets, the less alert it will look, and the more benevolent. It's the difference between like giving a dragon like really slit pupils and really round iris pupils. So yeah, the bigger you make this, the softer and more relaxed the eyes look. And the less alert or hostile. So be aware of that. All right, so now I've gone to the point, and these irises are now big enough that we could probably put a hint of color in. But we've had to go this big. So, like, if I had kept her with more wicked, more of the alert or wicked or narrow eyes, then we would not have had room. There's just no way I could have done a colored iris on that. Not really. But here, at this stage, now I feel like, yeah, I could probably put just a tiny touch of coffee. Or coffee. You guys have distracted me. Tiny touch. Yes, of coffee in the eyes. Ah! Tiny touch of color. Alrighty, let's get some pure white because we got to underpaint these irises. And we'll see how she starts to look at that point. I may need to reshadow under that upper brow. The biggest thing I'm going to miss at this year's ReaperCon is that Tori won't be there with Hanger 18. Hanger 18's not a thing anymore. So who's going to supply all my awesome busts? Like, how am I going to find a place to spend, like, $300 at? I guess there are a couple other vendors that are carrying busts as well, from FER and some others. Maybe people will step forward and bridge the gap there. Frozen Ninja also has some nice stuff, yeah. Yeah, we have our hotel room Cybestorm. David and I do already. I'm just not going to buy a badge because I'm assuming I'll teach one class at least, and that will mean I get a free badge. Or at least it used to. But yes, the intent with David and I, assuming all else has fallen into place and we are vaccinated, is to come. Yeah, just Tori's, I mean, Lily's been busy with her own stuff for a while, and Tori just, his actual business, his real job, Durham got very, very busy. And so it just wasn't worth it for him anymore. Like, it was more of a pain in the butt to run two businesses side by side, because he's an entrepreneur. I think he's a pretty diehard entrepreneur. But yeah, it just wasn't. So he's like, this is our last year, closing out sale. He brought everything to the con and blew it out. I got some nice models from that sale, though. Oh, signing with a mouse, yeah. David usually does teach, Jetta. Usually he does a couple classes. I haven't asked him what he's thinking of teaching this year. All right, so now the iris is going to be inside. And you could try to just put a little dot, or you can try to fill in the whole circle that we've already done. I find it a little easier to fill in the whole circle and just try to keep a little edge on the outside. And then we're going to fill that in with color. I don't think David would come if he couldn't teach, because he likes to hang out with everybody and paint, but I think he also enjoys the teaching aspect, so. I could stick my head out and ask him, but he's probably in a meeting. This is not a David sitting across from Ann day, so he must be in a meeting or he'd be in here. Lost a little bit of my lower thing. So I'll grab some of my blue liner and just touch that up. Again, just don't freak out about eyes. Just relax and, do the best you can. Just like with everything else in life, doing the best you can is really your option, right? It's the best you can do. So try not to freak yourself out too much. And what purple? I'm going to get my violet red out. Maybe I'll go a little bit more reddish purple with some runic. That's probably not bright enough. So the thing is with tiny colors, remember when you're doing a tiny bit of color, if you really want it to show up, it needs to be really bright. I think I might go with where's my clear magenta? Clear magenta is hiding over here. I might go with a mix of the violet red and clear magenta. Yeah, Durham, the classes were the main, they're the whole reason for ReaperCon, or they were. They're still a central point, even though gaming is getting much bigger now. Classes were kind of the point from the beginning. Makes ReaperCon different from most other cons. Most other miniatures cons. Alright, so I mixed one drop. This won't be so much purple as it will be a red-violet. But it's a fire engine color there. It's a hot magenta. All right, have fun, and grats, Carrie. Alrighty, I'm gonna color this in and see if I have to change it. But you need something that's like vibrant enough for the color to really carry in a tiny little area. And it can be very difficult to do that. Not catching this or not like getting it, Grey Wolf. You should always, what I'm doing is concentric circles. So hold on. An eyeball is concentric circles. It's just concentric circles in a very... All right, so an eyeball. Eyeball. Put your dark, fill it in dark because you want a dark rim around it. It's much easier to just fill in the whole thing dark and then paint the white over it and keep the shadow than to try to paint the eye white and do a thin dark line around the whole thing. So it's much easier to just fill it in dark and then fill it in white, except for a tiny bit around the edge. So that gives you an outline to the eyes, so your eyes don't look like your model is like screaming, like wide-eyed. It actually gives the eyes some boundary. Paint it off-white. The next thing you need to do is establish an iris or pupil, right? So again, the easy way to do this, because most people have like kind of a dark rim around their iris or pupil, and that helps to kind of define the eye, right? But again, if you tried to do a very, very thin line like that, it would be really hard. So the easiest way to do it is just to paint the whole thing dark, and then to come back and paint it white and leave that little dark rim around it. This is only doable on really bigger eyes, like this 75 millimeter. And then, in order to get that iris to look colored, you use that white, and you have to go with a really bright color. So like if you were making a blue eye and you really wanted it to show up blue, use something like cyan or clear blue. Because you need that white to make the color that you look over it and put over it much brighter. And then the next step, so that's what we've got right now. We've got the dark rim, the white, the dark circle, and then I fill that in with white, and then I put a color over the top. Then the next thing to do is to put an actual pupil in black. And that keeps your color around it. So you're doing concentric circles. You're doing the circle, filling it in with a smaller circle of white, doing a dark circle, filling it in with a smaller circle of white, doing another circle. So it's like you're doing a map. You're just fitting it into a little oval. Yep. You bet. And this is kind of the same way I do eyes at the bust scale. But of course, at the bust scale, you can go a lot bigger and more, you can do a lot more here. Let's see. But I started these eyes the same, although it's not wanting to focus very well, but I started these eyes the same, though. You can see that there is a dark rim. You can see that there's a little bit of darkness, although on bust scale eyes, you don't put a really dark rim around the whole thing. Some of your lower rim is more red than anything, which if you look at your real eyes, that's how it looks, right? So as you do busts, you get more realistic. But I've still got that dark rim. I've still got that lighter color. I've still got that pupil, and then I have a little bit of a reflection as well. So the bigger you get, the more natural you can get. And the smaller you get, the more stylized you have to get. Yeah, more room for more detail, exactly. And as you get down to tiny models, I don't really feel I can do a colored iris on a 28 millimeter. I know people do it. Derek has done it, I think. Marika used to do it. But they also, I think, were using, they were using paint plastic surgery to make the eye larger so that they could fit it in. I usually think it looks a little bit too cartoony for me, but then I like realism. So for me, it's I tend to think about how the model would look if I saw it across the street and it was really this size, It's the circle of eye. Exactly, Seal. So now I need a black or a very dark color, which my blue liner may be able to do for me. We'll see if it's dark enough. So now we're going to do exactly what we did at the beginning. We're going to come at it from underneath again, because we want a pupil right under that eyelid. And this is hard. This is the hard part, to try to get that pupil in there. And you really just want to keep a little bit of that color underneath it. So just get what you can. Get what you can. You just want to still have that hint of color. And if you want to, at this point, you can try to highlight that iris to bring out that color, but it can be difficult because you're lightening the color. When you lighten the color, it makes it harder for that color to show up. Hey, it's a David. They asked if you were going to be teaching at ReaperCon, my love.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, probably. See?
I should figure this out.
Yes. So there you go. My supposition was correct. Yeah, probably. That was actually my answer, I think. Oh, I think that eyes on 28 millimeter, they're just very simple, Shadow Spawn. You do the dark rim. On 28, you do the dark rim, you do the kind of the slice of white. So dark rim, fill in the eye dark, do your slice of white, and then just try to get the dot. That's what you need. So actually, eyes at 28 are, I think, easier than eyes at this scale, where you have a lot more you can do. Yeah, you can do the shadow wash in the eyes. You can go, with just kind of that shadowed look. I do like to actually put eyes on my figures. when I'm doing commissions, I think it's necessary. The client wants it. Do remember, though, that if you never try little eyes, you will never get better at them.
If it's tabletop, it doesn't matter.
Yes, if it's tabletop, obviously. But tabletop, by that token, is still a good place to practice your eyes, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you have wonky eyes. So I'm going to get this white. I am going to attempt to do a catch light in the eye on the upper right. This is the hardest one. Oh, that's way too big. Take the white, take the water. It totally eclipsed my pupil, so I need to like take that out. This can take a couple tries. Yeah, and I lost a little bit of my pupil too. So I'm going to go back in. Got to play around. I think I actually want some pure black for that pupil instead of blue liner. It's too easy to take the blue liner up. David should teach the eye class. Oh, the class concept, how to steal Anne's brown liner. Yeah, he was saying that he stole back his brown liner last night, guys. His. Yeah, right. So, Reaper, you mailed my package, I hope. And if you mailed it, it can't get here fast enough with our multiple bottles of brown liner. Because it's causing a domestic war. 60% pickpockets for 12th level. How to steal Anne's paint. All right, I'm going to try this. Try putting these pupils in with pure black instead. It's about a 3-to-1. You need your paint to be thin enough for eyes that you can have it come off the brush in really fine dots and marks. But you also need it thick enough that it's going to cover, because you don't want to have to be going over your pupil 60 times, right, to get it to cover in, to fill in. So you're kind of dancing in that margin. It's usually around a 3-to-1 paint to water is what I tend to settle at for that. Sometimes I can go a little bit more solid, but you really have to kind of like eyeball it, and kind of try doing some dots on your palette or on your fingernail or something to see if you're able to hit if it's coming off the brush well enough and if it's solid enough. Oh yeah, stretch break. Hey, it is stretch break. No, this isn't early. This is perfect. This is the perfect stretch break. 10:20 is when it's supposed to be. So, all right. Hold that thought on the genie's eyes. Hold that thought. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can see all of her. Yes, perfect stretch break. Excellent, excellent. Thank God it's Friday. I keep saying that, but it's true. There we go. Remind the spine that it bends the other way. Remind the shoulders that they go the other way too. Uh-oh. We have a repair truck outside, and it's AT&T. Whenever they do that, I think my internet's going to get cut off. It's lurking there, guys. Lurking right outside of our window, where the internet connector is. Let's hope not. All right. I'm going to go and do my cat cows, and then we'll be back.
We have Comcast, not AT&T.
Oh, well then.
That should hopefully
Maybe they're
protect
not.
us.
They better not be sabotaging it. They better not be doing anything to my internet. That's what I'm saying. There we go. Perfect. We return. No problem, sad. Hydrate. Nom. All right. Yeah, she has nice big eyes, so it's possible to do it. I mean, most of the little eyes that we do, we don't have the room to do this. Alrighty, eyeballs. Boom. And I may need to move this eye over just a little bit, but we'll try to do the pupil on this, redo the pupil on this one first. And the challenge, that was perfect. That's a perfect pupil. The challenge now is to get that catch light in a controlled manner. It flooded a bit the last time I did it. I'm going to have to clean up that cheekbone a little bit too. So let's see if I can get my brush just damp enough and pick up just enough white to do a micro dot that isn't too wet. There we go. That's what we're talking about. All right. It always adds a spot of life to the eye to do the catch light. They can be challenging. And you noticed I stopped talking while I was doing it. It's because I'm always painting on the exhale when I'm doing something super fine like that. You got to like breathe out and then hold your breath and do it, or breathe out and do it before you hold your breath. You never want to suck in a breath and hold it. It makes you shake. There we go. There we are. Yay, the one there is a little bit brighter. Do I want to try redoing it? It is perfect. Yeah, it's just like sniper. It's just like it, or shooting pool, throwing darts. All of those disciplines use that technique where you shoot on the exhale, you throw the dart on the exhale or at the end. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. I can make the catch light a little brighter over here. I'm debating trying it because I really liked it the first time. There it is, just a little bit brighter. Perfect. There you are, shining, shining eyes. Debating putting a little bit more pink down there, but we've got a little hint of color. See how small that hint of color, though, is. You really aren't going to see it until you get close, but it's, then at least you do see it when you get close. So they're just so tiny that if I go any lighter with this color, it just won't look like anything. It'll just look light. So you kind of have a balance between, between how light you can take the eye, and still show color at such a small scale. So zip out. I think that's looking pretty good. I think I do want to move this eye a little bit since I have the capability. I can essentially shrink the white here a little bit by moving the line of the eye out a little bit. And that will move that eye just feels like it's a little bit too far over. So now we'll just do a quick adjustment. That's a little bit too much. Yeah, now I need a little more white. But that's okay. Again, we're going to do just a catch light. We'll grab a mixture of our linen white and pure white. And we're just going to do get that little bit of white back here. Uh-oh, a little bit too much. And this is what happens with eyes. I go into adjust, I screw it up a little bit, I have to touch it up a little bit, I screw it up a little bit more, I fix it here, I touch it up there, because the eyes for me are key to conveying the personality of the model. And so they have to be just right for me. And I'm willing to spend an hour on them to make sure that they're just right. Or 2 hours. Or more hours. You don't want to know how many times I messed with the eyes on that bust. There were 2 entire evenings, maybe 3, of messing with the eyes on my Templar bust. And even now, I feel like they need a little help. There we go. There we go. Perfect! Yeah, it's just practice. I mean, it's brush control, right? And so anything you do that is fine detail is going to help develop your brush control. So you don't have to do eyes, although I always say if you want to practice eyes, like I said, the Faceless Horror is the best model for it. You can practice in a completely stress-free environment because you don't really, you're not painting that model to be like a character or a gift or something that really matters to you. You're just using it for practice, and that makes you relax a lot more. And if you mess up one eye, you've got another 100 eyes that you can paint on it. And you can start with bigger eyes and then get smaller and smaller and smaller, which is going to help you develop better control. So many reasons that Faceless Horror model. Right, takes an hour sometimes to get the eyes correct on small minis, says Bryce. And yeah, that's exactly it. Is you want to muck around with it. I mean, we've spent almost an hour on doing her eyes. Yeah, throws mini against the wall. Yep. Yeah, and that's probably muscle memory, Shadow Spawn, right? If you're used to holding something like that instead of like I always paint from the side, but some people paint more like up and down, and so it's what is comfortable for your hand and what you're used to. If you're used to doing this, you're going to paint better with that position. The only thing that matters then is for you to figure out how to hold the mini so that you can do the techniques you need to do with that brush position. But if that's what you're comfortable with and you have better control, that's what you should be doing. Absolutely. Nobody's identical. I tend to do this because I've been painting and I tend to write, like that. So for me, this is like super high control posture, but it's not for everybody. So do some experiments and see how you hold the brush, what is comfortable for you, what does give you better control. Oh yeah, Polaris. I always say it does not matter. The size of the brush doesn't matter. All that matters is that it has a crazy good tip. So, I mean, I can paint the same eyeball with this brush, or I could use, where is it? Where's Tiny Brush? Tiny Brush, there you are! Or I could use Tiny Brush. And if you look at both of them, they both have fantastic tips that are very similar in size. It's only as you go down. In fact, if you cut them off right there, they're the same brush. It's just that the bigger brush has a lot more body behind it, right? So essentially what happens is that bigger brush, because, it's got all that body behind it, is going to hold more moisture back here. So that moisture, just a little bit of moisture, is going to keep that paint that's on the tip wet for longer. So you can paint for longer with the big brush, but you can do the same effect as with the small brush, because if you look at the break in the palette there, if you just ignore the big brush behind it, these brushes have exactly the same taper and exactly the same point. So that's the only difference, is that this brush is going to dry out faster and you're going to have to reload it more. You may get a little bit better control because you're not risking too much fluid getting in your paint. But it depends. For me, it just depends on my mood and what I'm painting. Yeah, brush control plus good brush with a fine point. Yeah, it is, because you're working across the nose, Julie. That's why if you saw when I started, I turned her upside down. And that enabled me to not have to work over the nose when I was painting the eye, the white of the eye. But when it comes to the pupil, I feel like I have about a 90-degree arc that I'll let myself paint in. Not even a full 90-degree arc, but it's more like this. So I'll switch to my more vertical setting to do the eye, because I don't have to worry about the nose then. And I find that I don't want to go beyond this, not even 90 degrees, probably 60-degree arc. When I paint. That's the arc that I paint in. It's very, very rare for me to try to do something more like this, because it's not a comfortable position for my hand. I think that finding that relaxed position for your hand and doing a lot of detail in it so that you can get used to that position is key to building brush control. Alrighty. Actually, that pretty much completes her face, except I might do eyebrows, actually. She's got those really heavy eyelids, but I kind of want to do a brow. I'll use Tiny Brush for this one. Yes, then, 2 brushes, but I'm not doing 2 brush blending because I've just always found it easier to do that with 1 brush. I'm not a 2-brush blending Anne. Some people really love that technique, and I'm like, why would you use 2? Just use 1 brush. So I'm going to put her eyebrows. She doesn't really have a defined, like eye socket because she's kind of ethereal, but I can guess at it. And this is going to be really pale brows, and they're really not going to show up hugely, but they'll show up a little bit against the pink and blue. And then I want to get on the other side where it's going to show up a little bit more because I've got a little shadow there. And I don't mind having her arching her brow a little bit over there. Pale brows can be the most challenging, and usually you need to put a shadow. But with her, she's got that shadow right there, so I can get away with this. Get away with just white for the eyebrows. Usually I would try to do something a little bit more two-dimensional, where I'd maybe use a light gray. Like if I was doing a dark elf at this scale, I would use a light gray and then I would use the white to kind of accentuate the brows. Just because otherwise a plain white line looks a little bit weird. But, there. And then I'm going to slide, after I've got my lines right, because you want to do just the line, just a really lightweight line, because that's really easy to base coat over if you make a mistake. And then you want to kind of like widen out parts, because if you look at your own eyebrows, they're thicker toward the middle and then they thin out, right? So that's what we need to do for her. You also want to watch the positioning of the brow. Make sure that you've got it close enough toward the middle. With her, she's kind of giving you that skeptical, wicked look, so it's going to be white. Durham. You can see how I started blocking it in white on this side with like accentuated swirls a long time ago. She's cloudy. She's got clouds, so the hair is very cloudy. So on here, it's going to be white, but down here, we're going to go with some white and then kind of do some rainbow effects too. Just for fun. Oh, wow. 10 pieces, 10 models in progress. You're worse than me, Julie. You might even be worse than David. He's got a lot of in-progress models. But a lot of them aren't on the desk directly being worked on, so. I'm trying to limit my in-progress. So I want to be careful with these eyebrows, guys. I don't want to thicken them up too much because that'll give her a heavier look, a more coarse look. We want her to stay elegant and cool. Because if we could be genies and full of air and restructure our eyebrows, any way we wanted, we would totally make them cool and elegant like Michelle Pfeiffer's. So like we totally want to, make sure also that they aid her expression, right? So I thickened the inside of that one, and I also gave it a little hook, a little bit of because she's raising it, right? Because she kind of is doing the so her eyebrows are probably raised. More than you usually do, yeah. Yeah. 10 is a lot. 10 would be like, I would be looking for the one that took the least work to finish and getting that out of the queue. That's what I tend to do. Like, and it's self-defense. I'm like, eek. I need to get some of this off of my desk so it's not staring at me out of its sightless eyes. Since I paint eyes last normally. Notice that on the Genie, I'm not putting you guys through that. Yeah, well, you're probably wise on that, Shadow Spawn. Like I said, I tend to feel overwhelmed if I get more than a couple of projects going on my desk. And that just kills my creative urge right there. Boom. So definitely, keep an eye on yourself, because it's easy to be overwhelmed and not realize that you are. There we go, guys. So that's coming along. Now, I do feel like I need to lighten up because the area, you can see it on my face even, is the area right above the brow tends to flare out a bit because you've got that brow ridge under there, the bone and the skull. So I really do need to probably highlight up to that eyebrow and not have that dark shadow that's kind of just above it. Yeah, you get overwhelmed, you put your brush down. Exactly. So be conscious of that, everybody. I know it's awesome to get distracted by new projects, but if you are one of those people who is easily overwhelmed, just be conscious of it. I like these eyebrows, actually. I think that they're enhancing her expression. So see how much that gives her additional expression to add those brows. Like, now she really looks like, which is perfect. I just want to maybe doctor this one just a little bit more. But I don't know. I really like the hook of it. I like the shape of it. I don't know if I want to get too much more going on there. I feel I want to get it a little bit more. There we go. Yeah. That's a perfect expression. I love it. That's exactly the expression I'd hoped to get. Oh, yeah. Well, you know, if you can work like that, if you're happy with having like 10 different figures that you can work on at any given time spread out in front of you, because some people really, that makes them happy. Like they're like, ooh, I can work on anything. And they just grab the one that they feel most inspired to work on at the moment. And that's totally cool. That's valid. There were people like that at Paint Club that I was just like, how do you do it? And they're just like, well, this is just like, I love this. And I'm like, all right, you're totally different from me. Yeah, that's a great goal. Half an hour on the hobby per day is a great goal. And you get stuff done, right, Shadow Spawn? Which really helps you, like, keep going. It keeps you excited about the hobby to get things done. Gonna have to watch a replay. Yeah, I mean, I am talking about a lot of little stuff on here, just little things to remember as well. So I get that. But you should also, like, look at if there is an eyes class from ReaperCon that's up on the YouTube. Or maybe take a simpler eyes class that really breaks it down. Because obviously this isn't, I did teach an eyeball class a while ago. But obviously I'm not, like, teaching a really, like, newbie-friendly eyeball class right now. I'm more, like, trying to get this model to a point where I'm really happy with it. So, 2 different goals. Stream keeps freezing. Good, Trustedoma. Yay. Yeah, good, you guys. Glad y'all are showing up at ReaperCon. Barring any weird stuff happening. Let me see. What was I doing? I was trying to get those eyebrows, and I wanted to add some water. Or, sorry, the eyelids. I wanted to add a little water to my white. 8 figures in January and 10 in February. That's fantastic. Yeah, that's fantastic, Shadow Spawn. That's gotta make you happy. Finishing stuff is always the best. Like, you're just like, yay! And then you can, like, start a new project, which is always so exciting. I didn't get any painting done last night. I was distracted. That's a little better. There we are. I just wanted to get her eyelids a little more accentuated. And I'm probably going to shadow a little bit more underneath those eyebrows as well. But right now, that's about right. Yeah, Zen, that happens to me too. You win, Sage. That's okay, Jelly. Just, like, you know, put aside a little money every week. And then, you know, by the time next year comes along, then you'll have the money. Like, even $10 a week is $520 a year. Of course, it depends on how far away you are. Can't sign up for any classes, Zor? You might sign up when you... Why can't you? We usually have some available at the door as well. Oh, it doesn't show you anything? Interesting. Or maybe we don't know. If we don't have classes up yet, we haven't. To be decided. We haven't gotten the email from Ron yet. So usually the VIP tickets are, the tickets for ReaperCon go up well in advance, and then within a month or two is when the class schedule gets done, because it takes a long time for all the painters to submit their classes and get everything figured out and figure out the schedule, and yeah, we all need to I don't even know if I'm, what I'm teaching. I haven't even submitted a class or thought about it. So that gives you an idea why there are no classes up right now, because all the instructors need to essentially decide what we're teaching. Yeah, we haven't even submitted them. So if you guys, actually, tell you what topics, if you could have your dream topic taught at ReaperCon, your dream topic, and don't make it a huge topic, because remember, it has to fit in 2 hours. What would your dream topic for a class for ReaperCon be? I'm going to make some notes. No, it does not, Cito. It's straight up. Just use it. We pre-thin it a little bit for you. No problem. All right, all-day sculpting class. Okay, all-day classes are really hard, but yeah. What is your dream class for ReaperCon? If you could think about it, wet blending, black cloth. Hold on, making some notes. Black cloth. Hair. Color theory by Anne. Well, blending is different. Color theory. More blending. I'm gonna put a hashtag after blending. Sagebrush, I'm assuming that's you're talking about my pigment class, just rather than a technique class, it's about, mixing paints and what goes into paints. Is that what I'm hearing from you, Sagebrush? Julie sculpting class. Julie 8-hour sculpting class. Uh-oh, Julie. Freehand knotwork. You would, D. Clearman. Celtic knotwork. I don't think we've ever had a class on Celtic knotwork. For a reason. Everybody wants to scream and throw their models at the wall after 10 minutes. Competition tips. Rhonda has done a level up class, which is great for competition mini tips. Fabric patterns. Are you talking freehand or textures on that, Muses? Whoa, now we're getting, now look at this. Boom, boom, boom. I'm not going to be able to keep up. She gets grumpy after hour 6. That's hilarious, Julie. Worn and weathered cloth. Patterns on cloth. Lots of cloth here now. Okay. Color mixing. Color theory. I'm just going to put color theory / mixing. Those are always popular classes. Let's see here. Washes and glazes. Mixing washes and glazes. Mixing and using washes and glazes. How about that? I knew once I got you guys going, you wouldn't disappoint me. Grayscale. Just like I just did. Sagebrush, are you in my Patreon? Because I just did a thing on grayscale. Using, it's the first dramatic lighting class, or video at level 10. And it's about first on doing grayscale and zenith lighting, and it's about choosing colors, what the colors are in kind of on a grayscale, 9s, 7s, 6s, stuff like that. So if you are on my Patreon at that level, at $10 level, watch the dramatic lighting video. And also didn't I do a how much to highlight? That's another one. Watch my how much to highlight video on Patreon, because that also talks about grayscale and using it. There isn't much beyond that. You have to like kind of like look at your color, look at your grayscale, and figure out what level it's at, and get a wide enough breadth. But yeah, I mean, maybe with a different model, it would be different. Yeah, Bryce with the tip. If you end up chalky, it's because your color jump is too far. You mix a color between, that will help. Thanks, Bryce, for fielding that. I mean, it's like Zero the fire, OSL fires. Different colors just are different colors. Like, the biggest, there is no difference between real fire and green fire. The only difference is what that color will do to the items it falls on. So like if you have a red cape and you have an orange fire, then obviously the orange fire is going to color the red cape orangey. But if you have a green fire, it's going to color it gray. So like those are almost two different classes in a way. Like I know David teaches a kick butt OSL and he specifically uses firelight. But after that, it would probably take a whole nother like half an hour to 45 minutes to talk about how colored light modifies the colors under them when it falls on them. Cool. Excellent, Sage. Hello, Mini Monster Paints. We are essentially making awesome memes. I'm not doing a meme class. No, you're good. You're good, Zero. No, it's not a sorry. It's just I'm trying to tell you, if you were serious, how colored light changes a colored item that it falls on is a very, very in-depth class on its own. It would be a very advanced class, Sage Rush, yeah. And it's very counterintuitive sometimes. I missed the Bob and Julie lol. Wet or dry noodles? Oh, are you not on my Patreon, Shadow Spawn? I mean, I have a crap ton of tutorials. But I could get better at. I mean, I definitely want to revisit some stuff. Skin and hair are always pop-outs. That's a good one. I had to go back to catch the stuff that I was, Yeah, skin and hair, I think we always have a class on it. How to paint with pasta noodles, Reaper John. All right. How to paint very badly. Smooth blending, black and white underpainting, faceted gems. Hold on. Black and white underpaint. Which I just did a video on, but yeah. Faceted gems like the gemstone dragon. And the rock troll. Faceted gems. Okay. That's Reaper John for that. Iridescent and rainbow effects, huh? Non-iridescent. One of the hardest things to do. So really you're not saying rainbow effects, you're more doing like opal effects. Like obviously it's easy to paint something in a rainbow. You just start at red and you keep going. There we go. Now we're back to this. Bones conversion class, those were wild, yeah. Oh, that's fine, Shadow Spawn. Well, I'm doing a special offer next month, so that would be a good time. I'll be advertising it. You can decide if that's your time or you can hold off. Indefinitely if you want. Yeah, Bryce has a good RVE class. That was a very good class. Thanks, Orc Zoologist. Yeah, there's lots of awesome palette and color mixing tools online for sure. Well, we'll be doing the Lizette staff here on stream, so... Twisted Oma, I actually did that. I tackled that in a class once. I can say that it's almost impossible. Like, you could do it, but it never looks quite right. There may be a way to do it, but I don't think anybody's going to do a class on that. Opals are, like, again, it's like a fractured gemstone. You could probably do something on it if you had a gemstone that was big enough, but you need a gemstone that was big enough. You can't do it on a tiny thing. Yeah, the mashup class. The Bones mashup. But yeah, that was, I had a class once where I had like 10 minutes extra, and people were like, how would you do an oil effect? I'm like, let's try it. And I jumped right in, and I got something that was like, all right, but not, it just wasn't all that. Like, I just think that that's like, it's so selective to use. I just don't think it's a great, like the oil slick effect. I'm sure you could paint it. You'd probably have to use gloss. You'd probably almost want to paint it. You almost need to have gloss and then painted effect in like thin, maybe even metallics, colored metallics, and then another gloss layer. I don't know. There's all sorts of ways you could try to do it. It's not something that I would be tackling probably, but we just talked about that one, Crows. Did you see when I showed David's model? Crows, were you in my stream, my Painting Big stream yesterday? Because David actually has done that technique, but he uses it for orange, not yellow. And it's very successful for orange. He's used it on a competition level model. The pink under. Yeah, oil slick. It like has all of the problems of NMM, except it's even weird. Like weirder. But yeah, so all right. Well, so what I have now, let me reread. First of all, Julie's 8 cross out 8, put 6, she gets grumpy. Julie's 6-hour sculpting class. So she doesn't get grumpy. We don't get grumpy Julie. Grumpy cat, not grumpy Julie. Yeah. And then we've got OSL fires, skin and hair. Probably separate classes there. I think painting hair can be its own topic apart from skin. You certainly have enough to depack with skin. Smooth blending, black and white underpainting, faceted gems. I will put Lisette in that parentheses. Wet blending, lots of votes for wet blending, and blending in general. Black cloth, color theory / mixing, Celtic knotwork because declearment is a stinker, worn and weathered cloth, patterns on cloth, mixing and using washes and glazes, and non-iridescent iridescent. NII. Because nee is the sound you make when you're trying it. Yeah, skin, I mean, that's just one skin color too. Like if you do like more complicated skin colors, like non-human or dark skin, or really pale skin and dark skin, or undead skin, like you could have like 3 skin classes right there. Yeah, bring Julie chocolate at the beginning of class and keep her well hydrated. You bet. And coffee. Lots of coffee for Julie. Okay, so we're building this. Maybe we could do like a 4-hour. Like, I think a 4-hour is manageable if you take a break in the middle. You know, maybe if you were doing faces and everybody has to, like, you know, I guess you could do faces and something else. You'd switch back and forth, right? And put them under the cooker. I don't know. Yeah, we've done long classes like that before in our, with the lunch break in the middle. Yeah, the sound of your brain collapsing. I agree, original. Yeah, that's the problem. You want to attend it all, right? And I always tell people, don't do it. Don't do it. Like, even just listening to Bryce's class on everything he wished he knew when he started painting, like, listening to that entire class filled my brain up. So, if you, and I like know a lot of stuff that he was talking about already. So if you go to ReaperCon and you think you're going to do 4 classes a day, you're wasting your money. And you're also like possibly blocking other people from taking a class that would really benefit them. So I ask that you take, this is my personal request, try to hold yourself to 2 classes a day and practice what you learn in each class immediately after you get out of class. Keep good notes if you don't paint along in class. Practice it. Use that next 2-hour slot to practice. Then go to another class. That way you still get in like 8 classes and a crap ton of learning. And that includes the fact that after the class, you can go to the instructor, show them what you're doing, and ask them for feedback. Like, that's ReaperCon. You don't get to do that in other cons nearly as easily. So, usable color theory. Really? Really, Bryce? Usable. I'm going to say usable. Like, color theory that's directly useful on a miniature. Yeah, like in college. Yeah, right, D. Claremont, right? And you ended up not getting as much out of it. See, that's the thing. Yeah, 1 to 2 classes a day over 4 days is plenty. I believe you are absolutely right, Inara. Upvote for Inara. What she says. They speak from experience. Listen to them. Yeah, no more than 2 a day. That's feasible. And even then, Shadow Spawn, by the time you hit Saturday, you're going to be wrung out. So maybe program yourself a down day in the middle there, either Friday or Saturday, or in my case, Sunday. I like have nothing on Sunday. I always have just the detox on Sunday. Yeah. Yes, go to the artist tables after and ask questions. Practice the stuff, then go find the artist, say, hey, I took your block class and this is my progress. What do I need to do to tweak it? You know, how can I make it better? Like, you can do that. You can do that at ReaperCon. It's so hard to do it at other cons. But at ReaperCon, all the artists, you know, are around tables with their names in front of their spots. So you can lie in wait for them and stalk them and pounce on them when they're in. And a lot of us try to spend time just painting at our places for that reason, so that our students can try what we've taught them and come back and ask for feedback. Like, this is so valuable. It can get crowded, especially when people want to just camp by their favorite artist and chat. We try to move people along. The best we can say is that if it gets crowded, like, just be loud. Like, say, hey, guys, could I get in just a second? I need to ask Rhonda a question about something I learned in her class. People will be super, super like, oh yeah, get in there. You know, people will be nice. Like, ReaperCon is full of very nice people. And they understand. And in fact, you might be doing the world a service because, you know, if you break up one of those big globs of people, then those people are going to move on and make more space for everybody else. Anne says stalking is fun. That's right, Durham. The artist should have something they can put out if they need a break, like a little stand. Yeah, I mean, usually we get up and just kind of go for a walk or something, right, Reaper John? We'll go and head to the restaurant and just pick up like a little appetizer or something to munch on. Or we'll go, I'll break and go get something to drink, you know, that kind of thing. Or we can always just step up to our hotel rooms. But it would be nice. What would be nice, John? Yeah, I know, and then you get stopped on the way. What would be really nice is if we had signs that say, you know, out for 15 minutes or back, you know, back in just a bit, taking a break. You know, so that people could wander by and know we're not teaching. They can see that, oh, Anne's going to be back in like probably 15, 20 minutes. We'll just you know, come back in a little bit, right? So, yeah, that would be great. Having a little sign we could put up that says, hey, just stepped away, took a break, we'll be back. And we could even, I mean, you could make it two-sided, right? Like one side, it could be like a standee tent. One side could be teaching a class till blah, or teaching a class. And then people could figure out, oh, well, that means they'll be back at 4. And then the other side could be taking a short break. Something like that. I mean, office hours often aren't, unless we have the adjustable clock spinny, Inara, I think that office hours often aren't practical because a lot of us are just like all over the place during the con. Like, we get interrupted. One of our students needs us over to their table. Our friends are like, hey, do you want to go take a quick walk? You know, somebody else comes up and is like, hey, want to go shopping? You know, let's hit the vendor alley while you have time. So we don't have, like, it's not like we head into the day with a schedule. We can be like, just like everybody else, we can be like squirrel at any given moment. So, but having the little flippy sign, you know, that says, hey, took a quick break, that could be just a quick break for shopping in Artist Alley, or it could be I ran to get a drink. It is a family reunion. Yeah, Twisted Oma. I think that it is just everybody's afraid to talk to us. Like, every year we fight to get you guys to just come up and be friendly at us. Don't be intimidated. Don't don't stay away. Come up and say, hey, I'm blah from your stream, or hey, I took your class 2 years ago and it super helped me. We love to hear that stuff. It keeps us going. Signs is a good idea. Yeah, good. I'm glad you agree, Julie. Yeah, I think a little flippy sign with teaching on one side and just stepped out for a break on the other, that would be fantastic. And it would, by using that sign, it would maybe make us a little more mindful of how much time gets leached away from us during the day, right? If I put my, hey, just stepped out sign up, I know that I could take 15 or 20 minutes, but I probably shouldn't take an hour and a half. Yeah. Jelly, I doubt it. No, not at all, Nomad Zeke. It's part of, I mean, we do this to help you guys, right? Yeah, sure, but if we teach enough classes, we do get our con expenses covered for ReaperCon, but we're not getting cash kickbacks. At least that's not part of the structure at this point. And we're doing this because we enjoy you guys, the community. We want to give back to the community, and we love to hang out with each other and talk painting. And each other isn't just us artists, each other is everybody. So, come up, talk painting, talk sculpting, talk drawing, talk whatever. Yeah, I don't know, Pendraig. Yeah, it's up to John. I trust Reaper John to design us a little flippy standy card that, will do the job. Yes, if you don't come talk to us, we think we're doing something wrong at ReaperCon. Exactly. Right, they don't like us. Yeah, see, I trust Reaper John to do this, because making it a little standy is just so easy, and it's easy to just print out and tape together. I trust you, John. I know you'll do a good job. At this point, honestly, anything would be an improvement over nothing. Low bar. Twitch rewards and challenges should include a stand-up and stretch? That's awesome idea, Zen. You have wandered up to Bob and Julie before. Good. Yes, we have you now. And so John is going to actually get crap done. That's the great thing about Reaper John. He is the get crap done guy now. I really appreciate it. Imposter syndrome. Yep. Everybody feels like they can't say hi. You get the same thing. You get the same thing at like writing conventions where, you get terrified to walk up to your favorite author to say just that you appreciate their book so much, but actually that's what they need to hear. So you need several get crap done people to organize a convention. Adrienne is another get crap done girl. I mean, because she has the massive wall-wide whiteboard of ReaperCon, which if I had to stare at that thing day in, day out all year, I think I would go loony. Like, I would put a curtain over it. I would just uncover it when I had to. Yeah, that's really nice, Nomad Zeke. That's fantastic. When you can get that. And that's why the competition is nice, right? Is that you can get that kind of feedback, which keeps you going. I mean, just don't hang around then, Durham. Like, if you don't want to feel like a stalker, like, the best thing to do is just to come up, say, hi, Ann, watch your show. I really want to say I really appreciate when you do, when you do eyes. I really appreciate when you cover this. Keep up the awesome work, and then, that's awesome. That's all you need to do. You can also hang out and see the pretty models out in front of us. Usually several of us have pretty models that we've painted sitting out in front of us. Oh, good. Good, Reaper John. That board is amazing. I know. It melts my brain every time I look at it, green users. Hey, the comment is what you need to remember. You don't need to remember who gave it to you. You just have to remember that somebody told you were really close to breaking through, and keep going. Hi, I like your stuff. Okay, bye. It's okay, Zen. You can do that. Don't feel bad about it. We all know. We've all been there. We were all baby painters once upon a time, talking to, like, our idols. Like, we get it. We get it. Like, we're not going to think less of you. Change the title to ReaperCon Talk with Painting Big. Yeah, sorry. The end of it did. It's eyeballs and ReaperCon Talk, right? Right? Yeah, I mean, and that happens, right, Twisted Oma? It's fantastic. Yeah, we all feel the same way when we're up against like somebody we really, really admire. But at ReaperCon, like, we're all... You should have asked that at the time. What you need to do, Zeke, is to do, you know what piece that was. So maybe you need to do a paint of a similar piece and try to push yourself and see what feedback you get. I know, Inara, I feel that. I feel that. I have to constantly keep my glasses around the neck of my shirt. Like, constantly. So that I could stop and look at miniatures and still talk to people. Totally feel it. Yeah, but I mean, ReaperCon, like I said, it's fantastic because everybody's really just wants to help everybody else. And so you won't get attitude. Like, if you get attitude from any of us, it's probably because we're really tired and wrung out and we just need to take a break. But I don't think, I mean, I haven't ever heard of anybody, like, really giving somebody a tude. I think everybody's really got a great attitude at ReaperCon. I mean, so now it's your challenge to figure out what that is, Nomad Zeke. Or the other option is to bring that model, the one that you got the comment on, to everybody at this year's con and ask us, what can I do to improve this? That should give you what you're looking for. And you can tell them this was a ReaperCon 2 years ago entry, and they told me that they thought I was really close, and I just don't know close to what. Be honest. I think that's a little bit much, Durham. Most of the time when that's me though, my comfort zone. My comfort zone is I'm an introvert. Like, I may come off as I'm a very cleverly disguised introvert, but I still am. So if I want to take a water or a coffee break, I want to do it alone or with like David, right? I don't want to do it with an attendee because when we step away, that's when we can let down our face, right? Like when you're an instructor and you're well known at these conventions, I mean, who pointed it? Reaper John just pointed it out. You get stopped 5 times on your way out of the hall to get a coffee. And so you can really only relax and let that down when you don't have an attendee there. And so that's why the coffee break or water break with the attendee doesn't work. And so that's... So keep that in mind. It's nothing personal. And it's that particular example is purely me. So there are going to be some people who wouldn't mind doing that. If you say, hey, Kaporia, I love your work. I would love to have you look at my model. Do you want to like take a quick break, get a soda or something or a water and talk? And, and we'll say yes or no, I really don't have the time or whatever. Yeah, boundaries. And that's it is if we are at our desks, we are there, we are open FaceTime. But stepping away from our desks, we get to take a breather and not be on public display. So it's like animals at the zoo. When the animal turns around and walks back into its enclosure where you can't see it, the animal really wants to be alone and it won't appreciate you going inside to stare at it there. Oh dear. But yeah, in general, remember that a lot of us are introverts, right? All of us are geeks like you guys. And a lot of you are introverts, no doubt. So think about how much it drains you to be public, dealing with crowds of people for 8 or 10 or 12 hours in a day over 4 days. And then, kind of like let that establish your boundaries and understand that we love to do it. But at the end of the day, we're just done. We just want to hang out. Yeah, right. John is all for it, right? So if you're John is total extrovert. John loves to be the center of attention, right, John? So John's all for it. Yeah, let's go get a coffee, right? And stuff like that. Right, me too, Shadow Spawn. Like, obviously, I sit here on stream, I do classes, I go up and do the awards ceremony at ReaperCon. I don't know if hopefully they're gonna... John, you make sure you tell them that I want to do the awards ceremony again. I don't want to miss one. I'm setting the record here. No one will be able to surpass my award ceremony record. But yeah, so really, I mean... You can always ask, but if they kind of politely kind of decline, just yeah, it's not you. It's probably that they need a break, like a break away. Yeah, after 9 hours of contact, you want to be alone, right, Sage? You got it. Exactly. Yeah, and chess tournaments also, there's a lot of pressure there, right? I didn't know you did chess. That's fantastic. David and kind of but mostly David was watching Queen's Gambit for a while ago. Was it Netflix, David? That was on?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a really good show, and you should watch it if you haven't seen it.
Yeah. But I was never that good at chess, but I find it fascinating. Yeah, Navy instructor for 4 years. That was hard, right? No problem, just Dodoma. Yeah. And like John says, some people at the con are going to be like, yeah, let's go do everything. And they're going to stick around and they're going to want to play board games with you after hours. And some of us will too. But yeah, it's just remember, like, kind of put yourself in our place, because we love it and we want to interact with you guys, but we also need just a little bit of downtime here and there so we can stay sane. Yeah. Beth Harmon is your hero, Sagebrush. Yes. Yeah, that's true. This will help with the social distancing part and kind of streamline it. Yep. Yeah. I think, and that's similar with me. I did public speaking. I did forensics team in high school, and I did theater. And those two things essentially made me not be a total introvert. Like I had to get out and do things, talk to people, be on stage, be up in front of lots of people. You know, that got me to being functional and even good at that level. But there's still a part of me that very much needs to curl up into a little quiet ball at points. So, and some people are more that and some people are less that. So, of course. Yeah, the whole streamlined as they get called up for their award. I know. It's just when you have 1,000 people, like maybe, I hope we don't get like really a few entries. I hope we get lots of entries still. But yeah, when there's lesser entries, it does mean I can pause a little more. So yeah, I like the walk up and get the award. We ready to end? Yeah. I think so. I think that's pretty much covered it. Yeah, I'm sure that we'll have more ReaperCon talks, but I'm glad you guys stuck with me through this one. It was nice to be able to talk about, just about things like boundaries and things like, expectations, how many classes you should probably take, stuff like that. I'm sure a lot of people, if you ask Michael Proctor, he's going to give you also a different take on that, right? So always ask. Yes. I like the walk up for the awards too. Yes, indeed. So who are we going to rate today, John? And yeah, happy Friday, Monique Chibi. Chibi Monique is on Monday, guys. And on Tuesday, we start the Wyvern. The new Wyvern. Yeah, 1,000 entries is a lot of walk-ups. Thanks. I'm glad you guys had fun today. And we're going to go, just Isis. Awesome. Say hi to Isis, everybody. And I'm glad you all had fun today. And I will see you Monday. Have a great weekend. All right. Adios.